Yeah, hit me.
Okay. We're going to go in 3, 2,
Wait!
1. Okay, I'm waiting.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Gentleman Fantasy Podcast. I am Kyle. With me on the Hot Stuff Pizzeria hotline, as he is every week, my buddy Robert Rushlow. What's the word this week, Robert?
Hot stuff would be the correct way to define my line because my picks are as hot as they get. Back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back weeks, Robert has gone from 0-5 the first week to 5-0 the second week, 5-0 the third week, and now he is 10-5 on a 10-game win streak. And I'm sure his first pick he will fuck up and lose that winning streak.
Absolutely. Nothing like hitting the brick wall good and hard right away.
Right? That's what happened. I mean, honestly, after that first week, I thought the two of us would just go miserably terrible and it would just be comedy for everyone. But apparently you decided to be good at this thing now, and I'm not.
Hey, sometimes lessons learned, you got to just roll with the punches. Speaking of hitting a huge brick wall,
yes.
How about that Packer game?
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I don't think they're going to be good this year. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I don't think they're good.
That is exactly what I was thinking. I looked at the NFC and I was like, wow, I look at the Rams. Nope, can't beat them.
The Rams are really good.
I look at the Vikings and I'm like, well, we could have beat them, but they could have beat us. So we'll just figure out another time who can beat who there. And then you have teams, in the South, like the Saints and the Falcons, and I am fucking afraid of them. So
right.
I don't think the Packers are good.
No, I don't think the Packers are good. I don't think they have enough playmakers. I mean, I don't even know what the problem is. Rodgers is not right. I'm still with Simmons. And I think Rodgers has a torn ACL, and he's just playing on it, but he's not telling anyone.
Right. I think a couple more losses, and they might just cut bait on this whole force-feeding him to play thing in the interest of his longevity.
Yeah, their best defensive lineman is out for the season now. And,
right, that sucked.
And they lost another defensive back.
And Clay Matthews can't get a sack without a penalty.
Look, before we get into Clay Matthews, one aside here. So I'm at Fatso's getting a sub the other day, and as I'm waiting for my sub, I'm flipping through the Entertainer, and in the middle of the Entertainer, there's a half-page ad for Indeed, which is like one of those job companies. You find a job with Indeed.
Sure, temp agency.
And they have a half-page ad, Indeed. Find your person, find your job, whatever. And it's a picture of the Vikings kicker with his head in his hands as he missed the game-winning field goal.
Wow, that is.
And I was like, now that right there, that is marketing at its finest. Those are people who know how to market at the right time to the right people.
That is purely savage. Oh, man.
I posted it on Facebook, so, all of you Facebook followers of mine out there, you could see that on Facebook. It was hilarious. Just his head in his hands, and the Packers players just like, what's going on? It's hilarious.
But on a serious note, this 1-1-1 thing is going to drive me nuts. But now, just having that one on the record all year is going to bother the crap out of me.
It's just, and the Browns have the same record as the Packers right now, which is really annoying.
And the Vikings.
Yeah,
both teams at 1-1-1.
It
just looks ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. The Bears are in the division lead. I am losing my mind. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and the Bears don't have a quarterback. I mean, is this Rex Grossman all over again? What's going on here with the Bears? They got a great defense. Hey,
yes,
by the way,
is a perfect comparison.
Hey, pass rushing is hard to find. Just remember that, John Gruden.
Yeah, I mean, Trubisky is really bad. Like, it's funny how good the Bears could be if
If
they
they
just
had
had a good quarterback.
yeah, if they had a quarterback that could throw the ball, just
Right, not
literally throw
even
the ball.
great, just good.
Yeah, like if they had Kyle Orton again, you know.
Dude, I loved me some Orton. Don't you talk trash.
I thought he was way better than Grossman in the moment, and
Yeah, he blew it.
and he was better than Grossman. Hey, but
Yep.
speaking of former Packers and Bears players and whatnot, let's talk about this Clay Matthews thing. But first, all right, now picture this: James Jones is allowed to wear a hoodie. Okay, if James Jones could wear a hoodie, who's to say the Packers equipment staff can't engineer like a pillow pocket for Clay Matthews so he can lay the quarterbacks down on a pillow?
I wish they would just wrap him in saran wrap or something, like just completely bubble wrap Clay Matthews so he can just go hard on a quarterback and nobody gets hurt. Like, Clay did everything right. That was a textbook sack according to the freaking rules, which is why I guarantee they're going to change this whole thing to the Clay Matthews rule.
Right. This is absolutely ridiculous. This has been talked over way too much. We'll just make this brief. But Clay Matthews, there is no, that is a textbook wrap up. How can you sack a quarterback without putting any pressure on him? How can you sack a quarterback without falling on him?
Yes,
I
he was
do not understand
for not
it.
being able to defy gravity.
You can't tackle a person without falling on him. That is the physical definition of tackling, is falling on him.
Yes. And, you know, this isn't just a homer thing either, because every analyst on every platform across the globe was like, holy shit, that was a bad call.
Yes. Hey, and after that call happened, this is a small family circle moment here. After that happened,
You beat your wife.
Yes, I did that too. I'm going crazy. I'm like, what is going on? This is ridiculous. And they keep showing the replay. And Vince comes in the room and he's like, Kyle, what's going on? And I said, Clay Matthews got a penalty, blah, blah, blah. He's like, what do you mean? What happened? I said, well, he tackled him. And he goes, what do you mean? Wow, that was really neat. What is that? And I said, well, it's a sack. It's a tackle. And he goes, what do you mean tackle? I said, a tackle is when you want to hug someone so hard that you just push them into the ground while you're hugging them.
Oh, God, you should not have told Vince that.
Yeah, Nicole told me that right away. So on Monday, Vince goes to preschool, and he tackled one of his friends.
Of course. See, this is... That's fantastic. That's why I love that boy.
He takes things way too literal. I mean, I have stories for weeks on this guy. Anyway, let's move on. We shouldn't talk each other into making live roster changes during the pod because it did not work out for either of us.
No, it certainly did not. And it once, oh God, I don't even have words for how angry this makes me that Aaron Jones is this underutilized. Like, it's like having Devontae Freeman on your team, but saying you don't want to play him all of the snaps. Like, hey, Devontae Freeman, I'd rather put Ty Montgomery in on this one. Hey, Devontae Freeman, I'd rather put, anyone else in just because.
Yeah, I don't know.
He knows Aaron Jones is talented. Why is he not taking every snap? I don't get it.
He should be the running back. Jamal Williams is dead, if you ask me. They don't need to play him at all. I understand he's a good pass blocker, but there's nothing. I mean, what does he help him? He doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield. He doesn't run the ball well. On passing downs, you should have Montgomery out there, which for some reason they don't use Montgomery enough, and Aaron Jones should be the only guy carrying the ball, really.
Right, and Montgomery's good, Williams is good, but Jones is great. The guy needs the rock. Just give him the rock and you'll win games. It's that easy.
And my point about the Packer game this week is Aaron Jones. They're going to run. They're playing Buffalo. They're going to get ahead, hopefully. Then again, the Vikings did just get blown out by Buffalo, so maybe I'm thinking too far ahead here.
Total fluke.
We should touch on that for a moment too. I was in disbelief all Sunday. I did the token Bill Simmons cousin Sal. We went apple picking Sunday morning.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, we went apple picking Sunday morning, and I missed the first 2/3 of the first half. So I get home, and the Packers are down, and I'm like, this is going awesome. Listen to a little bit on the radio. I'm looking.
Sure.
I pull out my laptop. I'm looking through the scores, and I'm like, whoa, is the stat tracker, is Fantasy Cast screwed up right now? What's going on here? And
Right.
and the Vikings were down like 27-0, and I was just like, I don't understand what's going on here. This is the Bills. They are terrible.
Yeah, it took me by surprise as well. When the Packers are playing, I don't watch Red Zone. I focus on the Packer game. I watch that game. I'm just that way. And they cut to a break, and they're like, hey, in case you weren't watching, Buffalo is absolutely demolishing Minnesota. And I was like, you mean the team I thought was the worst team in the NFL is beating what I thought was the favorite to go to the Super Bowl for the NFC?
Apparently, Josh Allen is like one notch below Ryan Fitzpatrick right now.
Wow. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't know that, but it's true, I guess.
I was thinking, next week, a nice recovery game against Buffalo in case this one didn't go so hot. It's an easy win. Now I'm fucking scared shitless that Buffalo's going to come in and murder us.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too. Yeah.
That's great. Can we talk about how fucking angry I am at this Pat Mahomes thing?
it's not going well for you.
I literally pick one quarterback in the entire NFL that I'm like, you know what? I think Phillip Rivers is going to be better than him. I'll bet you, Luke.
And to your credit, Rivers is having a good year. It's just that Mahomes is having a historic year in his first season.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing Rivers things. It's like I said in the beginning of the year. He's good for 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns every game. But Pat Mahomes apparently is good for nearly 400 yards and goddamn near 5 touchdowns every game, which is unprecedented. He looks like Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers, and freaking Johnny Unitas slammed into one great quarterback sandwich.
I mean, the Chiefs' defense is terrible. The Chiefs' offense has so many weapons in so many different ways. It's hard to think that he'll be stopped at all this year.
Dude, how does it feel to be Kareem Hunt?
He's not getting the ball. I mean, he's not doing things that the other guys are doing, and he has talent too.
Right. It's just like he's just taking a couple snaps here and there, and they're winning games, and he's just like, oh, I guess I'll just be over here then.
Right. Yeah. The wide receivers, the running backs, I mean, everybody on that team is contributing in a ridiculous way. I mean, you could pretty much start on any given bye week, you can pretty much start any player that gets a snap on offense in Kansas City and get points out of them.
True that. So, let's get to some news.
Let's do it.
Rex Burkhead is gone.
Done for the season. Well, actually, he's out for 7 weeks. He's on the IR, but, it's a 7-week IR.
Sure.
And
of course, Luke has him, has Sony Michel, the backup, right?
Yeah, but Sony Michel has not been good so far. Which surprised me, because I thought Michel was going to come in after his injury and just light things up and beat Dion Lewis, which, by the way, Luke has also.
Right. I mean, I don't see a reason Sony Michel won't get points just based on volume. I mean, Jeremy Hill's gone. Rex Burkhead is gone. James White is invisible until the freaking playoffs. I mean, it's between Sony Michel and, yes, Kenyon Barner. You may remember him.
He's still in the league? I didn't realize he was still in the league.
He is the backup running back behind Sony Michel. So if that's any frame of reference for you to realize that Sony Michel is getting every touch in New England, this is a workhorse situation here. Luke stumbled upon gold just in time, because if you look at his running backs, he needed a running back in the worst way. This is a gift from God to him.
You know, but I still don't think he's going to be any good.
No, but if you tell me he's going to get 20 touches a game, he's going to score points.
Yeah, but this is New England we're talking about. No running back gets 20 touches a game.
Well, combined, most of them do. Like, I'm just saying, he's going to have value just based on the fact that there's no one else.
Tom Brady last week after the game said, we need to give the ball to guys who make plays, and he specifically said James White is a guy that makes plays. James White's going to get more work this week.
Side bet?
More work than Sony Michel?
Fantasy point total.
Fantasy
Non-PPR.
point total. Non-PPR. I mean, well, basically our league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take James White. This week?
All
1
right,
week only?
Sony Michel.
All right, put it on the board.
Put it on the board. All right.
Speaking of running backs, though, let's talk about the depleted running back depth right now.
Dude, it's scary. Like, there's Alvin Kamara and James Conner, and then there's, like, everyone else.
Right. You can get into like top. I mean, Matt Breida is like number 10 right now at 38 points through 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if you go off the board from when everyone was drafted, David Johnson, average. Zeke Elliott, average. Mm-hmm. Le'Veon Bell, gone.
All right.
And then, you have to go all the, Gurley's obviously amazing.
Everybody in the league, and trust me, I know this. I'm looking for a running back. Everyone in the league, if you look at their team, it's like, oh yeah, I got two guys at starter level quality, and then everybody else that you might have is just like, who the fuck knows what's going on.
Yeah,
running back
has been relatively average. Christian McCaffrey's been relatively average.
Like, running back value is depleted right now.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette's hurt. Dalvin Cook is hurt. Kareem Hunt disappeared. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns, but only 44 yards. Like, it's rough. Running back is rough.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And the flip side of that is wide receiver looks deeper than ever, but on any given week, it's wide receiver roulette. You never know what you're getting. It's very hard to get an every week guy who's gonna take care of business every week.
Right, and it's been like that for a couple of years now, where the playbooks are, the more the league turns to being more pass happy, the wider
and the less Clay Matthews can sack a quarterback.
Right. And, good quarterbacks are going to look for more than just their first read now. So those second and third reads, if they're open, are going to get the target.
Right. Unless you're Mitchell Trubisky, then he's just running the ball.
Right. Yes. Trubisky is really, really bad. It might be a spot for, some unsigned free agent out there to find a job again.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe somebody, boy, this guy named Kaepernick. I hear he's good.
Oh, yeah. I led you right into that one. Dude, imagine that, though. I mean, he wouldn't be able to
with
throw
the
for
Bears?
Shit, but, I mean, if you're going to have a quarterback that just tucks and runs it, you might as well have the best at tucking and running it, right?
Yeah, but not with the Bears. The Bears cannot get Kaepernick because you know what's going to happen. He's going to suck every game, and the one Packer game, he's just going to run for like 180 yards.
Yeah, he's like Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. Can we just pretend that didn't happen too?
Too soon?
I mean, I hate Adrian Peterson. He only shows up against the Packers. He's just like Kaepernick. I mean,
exactly.
What is it with these guys? Julio Jones just destroys the Packers every time.
Maybe it's us and not them.
Oh, you mean that we don't have a good defense? Because that's true.
Yeah, I think we're just really bad.
That's true.
Anyways, why don't we get into these matchups?
Yeah, let's do that. All right. Week 3, I was 2-3 on the week, and as we talked about before, Robert was 5-0. I am now a total of 8-7, and Robert is 10-5. So you went from being like 4 games down the first week to 3 games up.
Yep, I'm feeling it. I found my stroke, man.
You
The fantasy aura is surrounding me.
you are on a roll. I will give you that. No doubt. All right,
Where was it you were drafting?
let's get to our first matchup. We got Andrew versus Ryan.
And if you listened to my podcast last week, you know who I'm picking in this matchup because I stated publicly, declared, that I will not pick Ryan Romlo to win a game for the rest of the year.
That is a true story. And sticking with his guns, you're picking Andrew here this week.
I am. And honestly, if I didn't make that declaration, I would have done that too. I don't love Fitzpatrick against Chicago. Ryan's running back game is still weak without Le'Veon Bell on the field. Larry Fitzgerald has disappeared. Henceforth, he is on Ryan's bench. And I still like Joby's guys. I like Brady. I like Antonio Brown, Gronk, Cobb. Like, he's got a decent-looking team. He's probably going to plug in Jay Ajayi before the end of the week for Williams, and I see a big dub coming here. It shouldn't even be hard.
Yeah, and I kind of went that same route. There are a lot of tough matchups in this matchup. You got Brady versus Miami, good defense. Fitzpatrick versus Chicago, good defense. Crowell versus Jacksonville, great running defense. Marshawn Lynch versus Cleveland. Cleveland's defense actually is really good this year. Gronkowski versus Miami, another good matchup. Defensive-wise, Diggs versus the Rams. So I don't foresee this being a high-scoring game because of that. There's a lot of good defensive matchups.
True.
And this is the first time we're actually doing this podcast. We're doing it a day early, so it's before waiver pickups. So Ryan has Evan Ingram in there who's out. He's not playing. And there's a host of other things that we're going to go through with matchups here where you're going to find that guys are going to need to make moves.
And looking at waivers, I'm only assuming Ryan's going to be able to pick up, even if he gets the best guy in waivers, he's looking at a 5-6 point tight end, and I'm factoring that into the pick.
Which you never know with tight ends nowadays. I mean, Ryan's been known to pick up the right guy at the right time.
Yeah.
I mean Vance McDonald had 20-some points last week. These tight ends are ridiculous. These guys who come out of nowhere.
The tight ends for the Eagles had 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's ridiculous.
These tight ends, guys you've never heard of, are coming out of nowhere and scoring big points one week, and then everybody's like, oh, do we really trust that? Because it's this guy we've never heard of before. And then, of course, it's true. You don't trust that.
Anybody on the field at any given time can catch a 40-yard bomb for a touchdown and have 11 points. Look at, what's his name, Ricky Seals-Jones for Arizona. Right place, right time. Bradford hits him wide open, touchdown. It's just how it goes, you know?
And the fact that Bradford hit someone for more than a 5-yard gain is a feat in itself.
Yeah, it did seem like a long shot for him.
All right, so we both picked Andrew in this game.
Done.
All right, moving on. We got Luke in the second string versus Kyle Krall and the guys who are hurt.
Yes, exactly.
What do you see here?
I am taking Luke because I pretty much like every one of his players more than every one of Krall's players. I mean, I like Jarvis Landry, but if you look across the board, there's an Odell Beckham Jr. there. Cooks is good, but across the board, there's a Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Sony Michel and Deion Lewis, Pat Mahomes, Zach Ertz, the Jags D against the Jets. Oh, yes. I mean, Krall's got Fournette and Cook starting, both coming off of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And
McCoy.
I don't know. Yeah, Shady McCoy, he's against Green Bay. I mean, I guess I can give him that. He's probably going to have a hundo and a touchdown, but I mean, I don't think it's going to be enough. Dalton against Atlanta could be a shootout. Maybe he gets lucky and pulls a Matt Ryan and throws for 5 touchdowns, but I'm not banking on that. Give me Luke.
Yeah, and I'm on the same page as you. He's got Mahomes. That's really all that matters in that respect. Julio Jones and Beckham. He still has no running backs to play, but Krall has 3 running backs who are hurt, and it looks like they're playing this week, but you never know what you're going to get out of a guy who's been hurt if that injury lingers.
Dalvin Cook is going to be on a limited count, especially against the Rams. They're not going to push their luck.
Yeah, and the Rams have a great front. I mean, the Rams have. If I talk about the Rams the rest of the year, all I'm going to be saying is they have a great everything.
Yeah, they're amazing. I don't see a world where I think the Rams could go undefeated. I looked at their schedule and I was like, holy crap,
Yeah,
they could go undefeated.
Sean McVay, great coach apparently.
Yeah, who knew?
So we're both on the same page with that one. We both got Luke. Moving on. Up next, we have you versus TVL.
Indeed.
What do we got here?
Well, I mean, he picked up Lindsey for the Broncos, who's been, good for him up until he punched a guy.
Yeah, I
I
missed that one during the weekend, and I was just looking at the matchups here, and I was kind of looking over his stat line going, well, why did he have such a bad stat line? Then I found out he punched a guy.
Yeah, he went straight thug in that game. And honestly, I was hoping, deep down inside, and this isn't just because I'm a Royce Freeman owner, but because I'm playing Travis this week, I was really hoping there would be some, NFL repercussions, maybe a one-game suspension, but no such luck. It looks like he's playing, so.
Yeah, and he's from Colorado. I assumed he was a chill guy. If you look at his hairstyle, and by the way, look at his hairstyle. Yeah, look at his hairstyle in his picture. I would have thought he'd have been a chill guy. Smokes a lot of weed. I did not assume that he'd be punching guys.
Right.
So that one took me off guard.
Yeah. I mean, the smart money would be on Travis this week, just looking purely at the matchups. But I might be able to pull a sneaky win here. I don't have Jordan Reed, so I'm going to have to come up with something off of waivers. But, he's starting Disley. I don't even know if he's any good or not.
Well, he had 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. And
all right, so he's good for a touchdown.
All that matters for tight ends, I guess.
I'm seeing a comeback from some of my guys. I think David Johnson's due for a little resurgence. Adam Thielen, I don't know. I can't pick in this game because obviously I'm in it, but
right.
Don't be surprised if I pull a little underdog action here.
Well, I picked you basically on 2 things. I mean, number 1, you need to pick up a tight end. Number 2, never trust Ryan Tannehill.
That's risky.
I don't care who you're playing or why. I know Tannehill's had a couple good weeks. I just do not trust Tannehill. And
it's funny. I looked at his team and I was like, man, he's starting Tannehill. Doesn't he have 4 quarterbacks? And then I realized Newton and Smith are both on bye this week.
Yes, of course.
How ridiculous.
He's got 3 quarterbacks for that reason. Exactly. Does he still have 3 defenses? I got to look at this.
No, he's only got Dallas and the Bears.
Oh, okay, right. But he's got 3 tight ends now. So he's got Ebron and Jesse James as well.
Oh, boy. Maybe I should offer him a trade.
Hey, and his only backup running back is on IR now, Rex Burkhead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, I don't understand what the hell he's doing.
Rough stuff. It might turn into a rough year for him.
How is he 2-1? Well, he's got no bench. What happens when the buys come? Is he just going to be picking running backs up off of waivers? I mean, he's not going to win games that way.
Hey, that's where he found Kamara last year. But hey, Lindsey could be his Kamara.
Kamara, he drafted Kamara last year.
Did he? I thought he picked him up.
Oh yeah, he drafted him. It was 14th round, but he drafted him.
Fair enough, but he's going to have to strike some gold. Otherwise, he might have a rough year. He might win this week, but it looks like a rough year overall.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got you in this game, and let's move on to the next one. And it is my game of the week. Kamara Chameleon versus Droppin' Browns. We got Ed versus Zach, a battle of 3-0 teams, and fireworks may ensue. What do you think about this game? Me too.
I'm just going to go ahead and start out. I mean, Breeze and Kamara, when we started out the year, we were like, how are these guys going to coexist? How are they both going to score points?
Well, it works.
I think they figured it out.
It works.
Christ, did you see Breeze run for that rushing touchdown to tie the game to go into overtime?
Spin move.
Literally just spinned off a corner.
Right.
That guy had to have lost.
Straight out of Brett Favre's playbook. I mean, You remember
Dude, if I'm that corner
how
and
well Favre used to run.
I'm just saying, if I had the game in hand and I'm a corner and a 40-plus-year-old quarterback just spun me off like a sack of shit, I would have lost sleep the next night.
I mean, he was no Vance McDonald on that one, but
no,
it was impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pick Zach to win this one. Purely, there's two things that I like about this for Zach.
Okay.
Devontae Freeman is coming back. So Ed's going to take a little hit on his Kevin Coleman in the flex there. And I like a lot of Los's matchup.
Is Freeman playing this game? I thought he was still out.
I think the last I heard, he's supposed. Well, maybe he's not. I don't know. I heard this morning he was probable or whatever, but they don't use probable anymore. You're either in or you're questioning.
Yeah, Well, I mean, I talked to Zach earlier this evening, and he made it seem like he thought Freeman wasn't playing, and he was planning on having Freeman not play this game, but I guess it's to be seen.
Well, let's pretend that Coleman's playing the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I still give Zach a slight edge in this one. I mean, Carson Wentz looked decent, but they're playing Tennessee. Tennessee's got a great defense. Gurley against Minnesota. Thursdays get a little goofy, and Minnesota has a pretty decent run defense.
I'm really interested in this Thursday night matchup.
Yeah, and honestly, Thursday is going to tell you a lot about this score. I mean, you got Gurley in there. You got and they have somebody else in. Let me see. Oh, no, it's just Gurley, but I mean that's a lot of Ed's points right there. Oh, yeah. How much can you get out of the guy?
30 points,
so
probably.
I'm thinking back.
We discussed this before we came on the air, and before we came on the air. Anyway, we discussed this. Yeah, right. It took you a minute to catch that one.
Also, whoa.
Whoa. I picked Ed in this, and I'm not going to go back on my word, but the more and more I thought about it, it really should be Zach. And here's why. To me, this is a very interesting matchup because these are two of the better teams in our league. And long term, I think Zach has the better team because of the Coleman-Freeman deal. With right now, Ed's getting all the carries with Coleman, and it's going to get split. And the James Conner situation, which I don't know if it'll last all year, but I guess the more and more Bell is being a dickhead, maybe it will last all year. And the one last thing, the Ed factor. Now,
yes.
This is where every week I just say, even though Ted had a really good draft for Ed, this is where I just say, Ed, the fuck are you doing? All right? He's starting John Ross this week, which, okay, I understand because his only other option is Josh Gordon. But John Ross has like 7 points total on the season. Okay?
Put Gordon in.
There are wide receivers on waivers right now that have like 40 points for the season and are averaging like 15 points a game. You can get a wide receiver anywhere. Oh, by the way, he also has Dez Bryant on his team, and last time I checked, if you click on Dez Bryant's player card, he has a bye all 17 weeks coming up.
Yeah, a real easy schedule for Dez. He might go undefeated.
He's not going to lose a game this season. He's also not going to have 1 yard receiving. So correct. Maybe we can cut bait on that. What was the over-under we had on weeks until Ed realizes he has Dez Bryant on his team?
He might have listened to that one podcast, which I highly doubt.
He did not. I guarantee you he did not. Ed does not have time for our league.
And said, you know what? F those guys. I'm going to hang on to them all year, and I'll show you in the end.
Yeah, and he's going to win the league or something probably, just to fuck with us.
No, his team looks like it's going to fall off a cliff pretty soon as far as points go. But, I mean, he could win this week. I am going on a hunch. I think Los is like the Rams this year. I don't see how he loses a game the way his team is showing up. And look at his depth, too.
He's the only guy that has. He's the only guy that has
Edelman
4 serviceable running backs on his team.
Yeah, he's got Adrian Peterson, Julian Edelman, Alshon Jeffrey, Devontae Freeman on the bench. Like, that's fantastic.
It might be a real nice season for Los.
Yeah,
which is a big comeback.
I see him losing.
Which is a big comeback after he had the first year of having a child slump that everyone has in this league. That is a fact, by the way. Once you have a child, a slump will ensue in this league. I promise you, it is a fact.
He counteracted the curse by, adopting 3 other childs.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How are the Dolphins' defense only projected for 1.4 points against New England after that garbage outing against Detroit?
Tom Brady? New England doesn't tend to have 2 bad weekends in a row.
Here. I'm willing to bet the Dolphins' D has at least 5 points. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'd bet you on that, but you're probably right.
All right. Well, either way, give me Zach.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ed, just on the sheer fact that what's going on with him right now is ridiculous, and maybe that horseshoe stays up his ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
fair enough.
To be determined.
TBD.
Next matchup, we have me versus Justin.
Yeah, boy.
Who, by the way, didn't make the draft. Just so you know, he's a sad panda.
So I'll take over on this one since you're not allowed to pick you.
Don't worry, I'm not picking me.
Well, I think this might be the first week this year that I am picking you. I think Rodgers could do well against Buffalo.
And I don't. They're going to run the whole game. They're going to get up big and they're going to run the whole game. That's my fear.
I'm not so sure about that, man.
Rodgers has like 8 points in this game. Mark my words.
This Buffalo thing might be real. Either way, I think Rodgers is good for 2 tutties no matter what. So I like Rodgers against Buffalo. I think Cohen and Eckler are going to do their average-ass Cohen and Eckler thing, but you have Tyreek Hill. I wish you would give Juju Smith-Schuster the respect he deserves and put him in your other wide receiver spot, but I can see you're just not going to do it.
No. His name's too long. He's got to be my flex.
Fair enough. I think you're a little too excited about Calvin Ridley. If it were me, I'd put DeAndre Hopkins back in there against a weak-ass Indianapolis team that's going to score enough points to keep them throwing. But I'm not you. You got to do your thing. And I'm not going to try to convince you to change your lineup after our woes last week. But, I'm looking over at Justin's team, and I don't love Carr against Cleveland. Barkley, is going to do Barkley things. That's fine. McCaffrey's on bye, and I don't even know if he has a replacement. Kenyon Drake.
I'm assuming he's going to play Drake there, yeah.
Yeah.
That is his only other option, by the way. Oh, I mean, he's got Breida, so he could play Breida there and then play another wide receiver. But, okay, keep going.
Yeah, it's true. Realistically, he's probably going to put Drake in, or Breida and, Demaryius Thomas. Either way, I don't see a huge difference between them. I like Fuller, but, you got Tyreek Hill on the other end of that, so I definitely like Hill more.
Yeah, and I also have DeAndre Hopkins, too.
Right. Robbie Anderson's hot garbage. I don't think he should be starting him. I think Demaryius Thomas should be in that slot.
Yep. I'll be trading for Christian McCaffrey in about 7 days.
I'll trade him for him in 6 days then. Jimmy Graham is not Jimmy Touchdowns. I made a bold prediction that by the end of this year you'd be calling him Jimmy Touchdowns, and that's not the case.
And what have I told you about every tight end you've been excited about that the Packers have picked up since the beginning of time?
Look, obviously the
it never works.
Has changed the game a little bit. If you haven't noticed, the game has changed since he got hurt. I could not have foreseen that. He was supposed to be Jimmy Touchdowns. He's not. It's okay. But give me you in this matchup. I think you'll probably win by like 15 points, to be honest.
I think you're wrong. I'm going to be the pessimist here. All right. I have legit A legit 5 of the top 10 scoring wide receivers I have on my team. Tyreek Hill, Kelvin Ridley, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyler Lockett, and Deshaun Jackson. 5 of the top 10 wide receivers throughout the first 3 weeks. By the way, my
That's
number
the
one
thing.
draft pick.
3 weeks.
No,
Oh, you're
my
killing me with that.
number one draft pick, DeAndre Hopkins, is 27th. So I
That
have
top 10 thing is a stat that does not matter. A
No.
guy can catch 3 touchdowns in 1 week and be
Here's-
in the top 10 in 3 weeks. That's not a big deal.
Here's the point I'm trying to make by that, okay? I have a wealth of wide receiver depth according to the way they've been playing. But here's the problem. I have too many wide receivers that are good. And the reason that is a problem is every week, I guarantee you, as long as I have all these guys, I will start the wrong guy.
Well, you're starting the wrong guy. I'm trying to tell you right now.
Well, I mean, I might change it, but I guarantee you, whoever I do start will be the wrong guy at two of the 3 of those positions, the 2 wide receivers and the flex. So
Sure.
now let me just put this out there. Somebody, anybody, trade me a running back. I've got wide receivers to give you.
Who would you give me for Aaron Jones?
Let's make a deal. We'll talk about that after.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I mean, you'll probably put Hopkins in for Ridley. They'll both score 2 points, and Deshaun Jackson will have 30.
Right.
So,
See,
I mean,
that's what I mean. It doesn't matter. Tyler Lockett, I've been looking at him all season long, and I'm just like, is he really going to score 15 points every game? He's going to score 15 points every game. But I'm never going to start him. But I'm never going to start him because he's not Tyreek Hill or Smith-Schuster or Hopkins. You know.
He's not a boomer bust guy. He's literally 60 yards and a touchdown every game.
And you know, someone could probably use that. So if you are that someone, let's make a deal. And of course, the Packers will run the whole game, so Justin's going to win. Moving on, Steve versus Justin, our last matchup of the week.
Yeah.
What say you?
What says me is Steve's going to win. Matt Ryan, holy shit, last week. Wow. I think there's a little regression there, obviously, because Calvin Ridley's not going to catch 3 touchdowns. Hashtag analysis.
You don't think so?
No, well, maybe just a couple less. Maybe 3 touchdowns. Let's be real here. It's Matt Ryan, and it's Cincinnati. I like Melvin Gordon against San Fran. Yeah, I'll take that all day. That's going to be fucking gravy. Chris Carson, turns out he is the starter.
Yeah.
He got
I don't. Penny is not a thing, I guess.
No, that goes against what a lot of people were saying. Apparently, Penny is not worth a penny. Michael Thomas, holy shit, is he getting a lot of catches this year? Like, if you drafted Michael Thomas in PPR, good job.
Yeah, you won on that one.
Yeah, Allen Robinson, David Njoku. Njoku's due for an uptick, too, with Mayfield. Apparently, they are hitting it off real nice in practice.
Yeah, wish I would have known that before I dropped him for Kittle.
Yeah, rough stuff. Sometimes you can't overreact. Alex Collins, I like him. I'm going to keep liking him. I like Steve's bench. He's got Mixon on the bench, Quincy Enunwa on the bench. That's pretty sweet. Your boy James White.
Mm-hmm.
Steve might be in for a good year if he can keep this train rolling. I don't hate Jason's team. He actually has some nice players, but they're all guys that are, Rudolph, if he catches a touchdown, is great.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Kupp's been disappointing. Keenan Allen, for what you expected, has been relatively disappointing, minus week 1 where he had 108 and a touchdown.
I mean, overall, it's just been a rough start for Jason. Russell Wilson, Kareem Hunt, Keenan Allen.
And I think Jason will score points in this matchup. I just think that Steve's going to score more. This could be one of those cases where, the second highest score loses to the highest score kind of thing.
Yep.
So give me Give me Steve in this one.
And I'm taking Steve as well. It's been a rough start for Jason, and I just don't see it changing here. He's going to go 0-4, and he's going to have to make some moves. I think he could trade me a running back. I think that's a possibility. I'll have to talk to him.
We're all
By the way, trade season is wide open. I have been making phone calls, sending text messages. Some people difficult to trade with. Like Travis, he will forever overvalue his players. People, be realistic about your trade value.
Well, I mean, there's only like 2 or 3 people listening. And anyways, a lot of people are in rough shape. You got, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that have losing records right now due to the fact that Zach and Ed are both 3-0.
Yeah, and we have no ties here, so...
Yeah, you have 2 0-3 teams, so there's gonna be some action. So I wouldn't be shocked if people are getting a little more open to trades, given the fact that 0-3 is a rough place to be. I'm happy to be at 2-1, given my shaky start in some of these. This last week, I caught a break and had to play Krall, who had no Fournette or Dalvin Cook. So
yeah, I wish I would catch a break like that. I'm just happy to be 1-2, and I also owe Steve a fish dinner, which, hey, it is what it is. I get fish out of the deal, so I'll take it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I would have beat over 50% of the league last week, so I don't feel that bad about it. But, got to take a win when you can get it, so I won't bet.
And after next week, we'll be able to add a short segment to the program. It'll be the power rankings and strength of schedule. I need about 4 weeks worth of data for it to actually make sense.
Oh, I always do like the quarterly power rankings.
Oh,
that's my favorite time of the year. It's like my quarterly Christmas.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Well, it's been a good week for us this week. It's about time to wrap it up. Let's do our favorite segment of the week, Family Circle. What do you got going on here, Rob?
Well, hey, we picked up a sponsor. Family Circle is brought to you this week by NyQuil and DayQuil, given the fact that my family has been deathly ill for the entire week.
Fantastic.
But I'm actually not going to touch on that.
We're not actually sponsored by DayQuil and NyQuil. It's like the Walgreens version.
Yeah, no, DayQuil is spelled D-A-I.
Walquill.
A-W-I-E-L.
Yeah,
so
right.
Look for it in my basement.
The hood
anyways.
version. Does it have codeine in it?
Of course not. That would probably be illegal. It's just Kool-Aid. Anyways.
There we go.
My parent corner.
Does it have cyanide in the Kool-Aid, though?
Look, in small doses, I'm told it's effective.
Yeah, killing people. Just talk to Jim Jones. He'll tell you.
Yeah, the Godfather sandwich. Anyways.
That's a Klukinski reference there for everyone who doesn't know.
It is. I thought you'd like that. So, I'm back in the mainstream wave of recruiting, right? School season has begun.
That's right.
I have to start getting into my schools every day. Lunch visits.
Yeah. Any good football players on the radar again? You are trying to recruit for the annual Armed Forces football game during the Packers game.
Yeah, I got a couple studs out of Michigan. I got Dylan Becker, who's a graduate of last year, who's looking really good, and I got the starting running back.
He's not a golfer, though.
Sebastian Hilbert. No, he's certainly not a great golfer, but he is better than me. So look for them on your local Packers telecast on Veterans Day weekend, whenever that happens.
You did catch a touchdown on the telecast last year, did you not?
I sure did. I yanked that one right in. That was on Monday Night Football too. I was on freaking national
ESPN.
television playing football. That was probably the highlight of my life.
Fantastic. But
anyway,
let's tell me about this recruiting business.
We're way off the rails, but well, it's not so much the recruiting is the constantly being away from home again, right? So Nicole is sick. I'm always gone. You know, the kids are insane because, you know, you coop them up in school all day and then bring them home, and what do they want to do but just ravage the place?
That's one thing I've been noticing. Our Vince's teacher every day is giving rave reviews about how good a listener and how well he follows directions and all this kind of shit. And he comes home and he's just a absolute madman. I don't understand.
See, I think they're full of shit. I think that the teachers are actually like grandparents, where they strap them down, feed them a bunch of candy, and then right when they're about to go back home, they unstrap them and give them back to you, and then the sugar high takes over, and they go absolutely berserk.
Kids, it's 2:45. Let's eat our Skittles.
Exactly. There's a conspiracy to be had here. I'm sending surveillance in, but yeah, it's rough. I don't know how else to say it, you know, because I feel bad. You know, I'm not home. Nicole gets overwhelmed. Yeah. My kids are freaking maniacs. Anybody who's ever been over knows this. And, you know, it sometimes forces a wedge between us because it's frustrating. You know, I have to work. I can't always be here. She gets mad. I get mad. I don't handle stress well. Mm-hmm. And whatever. We go to counseling. It'll get better, but, you know. That's all I got. That's my parent corner.
Well, let me ask you, family circle, by the way. Get this shit straight. I want to make sure it's not a copyright on that.
I mean, family circle.
Circle jerk? What?
No, family circle.
Oh, gotcha. Let me ask you this question. Now, if you're about to just do a number 2, sit down in the bathroom, what is the most important thing, aside from, you know, having a pot to shit on and a correct amount of toilet paper? What's the most important thing to have an enjoyable bathroom experience?
My phone?
Yes, that, and what do you need to properly pay attention to your phone?
I'm assuming you're going with the door closed and peace and quiet.
Yes, peace and quiet. That is the most important thing. Okay, so Vince has this uncanny ability that he can be ignoring me for like an hour straight, playing with Legos, watching a TV show, whatever. The moment he hears the shutter of the door in the bathroom closing, it's immediately run down the hallway. You know, just hear the patters of steps down the hallway, slamming on the door. Bam, 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 bam. Kyle, are you in there? Yeah, Vince. What are you doing? I am taking a shit, kid. But I needed to talk to you. Well, you can talk to me right now. What do you need? No. I need to be in there. Open the door. I said, really, you don't need to be in here. You don't need to be in here right now.
Did I mention I love this kid?
just without, and then he'll just, fine. And then he'll walk away. And then literally 5 seconds later, bam, bam, bam. Kyle. Yes, Vince. Are you done yet? No, Vince. I am not done yet. Leave me alone. He can ignore me for 3 straight hours, and the second that door closes, he's got to talk to me. It is absurd. So, I don't know what it is with kids and the bathroom door being closed.
We experienced the exact same thing here at the house. Nicole and I, you know, you go in, you close the door, you sit down. The minute you do that, they're knocking on the door, they're complaining, they're yelling, something's wrong, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell you this. Shit with the door open. Leave it wide open.
No, you don't understand. Because sometimes I take a shit specifically to just get out of the room. You know? Get out of the living room. Just like, hey, I think I might have a turd coming. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to be alone for a while.
Hear me out. People will walk by and they won't even look at you. It's magical. It's like a freaking spell. It's like my kids will walk by the bathroom door, door's wide open. I'm sitting there, pants down, taking a crap.
Yeah.
Nicole, same thing. They won't even look at you. They won't acknowledge you there. They won't care. Nothing. You shut that door, and there's like this weird, like zombie. Like,
Yeah, so you're saying it's a reverse psychology thing. I just need to have the door wide open.
It's a real thing. I will show you. It's nuts.
I mean, you don't have to show me. I could do without.
You ever watch World War Z when freaking Brad Pitt injects himself with the sickness and then the zombies just walk right by him when he's not even there? It's a real thing. Like, that happened.
You know what? I'll give it a shot this week, and I'll report back to you. How's that sound?
I mean, that or Vince will just walk in and be like, hey, what you doing?
Oh, yeah, he will. He definitely will.
I mean, I could be wrong. Vince is an exception to a lot of rules, I thought, for things. So
that's
sure. Why I love the boy.
And I got one more thing here for you. I'm going to talk about the other kid for a moment. Evan had his 6-month checkup, doctor checkup. And
it turns out he has the world's biggest penis for his age.
No.
That's right. He's your kid.
I see what you did there.
Hey.
Yeah. No, it's the opposite. It's actually really disappointing. If this kid was in an NBA draft combine, he would have the most disappointing measurables of all time.
Oh, God.
I'm not kidding. He is in the 16th 16th percentile for weight. And drum roll, you know, I'm wanting a basketball player as a child. Vince will never be a basketball player. I can just tell already. He's too fucking clumsy.
No, he's a linebacker.
He's an offensive lineman. I'm not kidding. He's just one of them lumbering beasts. He'll be great at that. But so I was hoping Evan could be my basketball player. Yeah, he at 6 months, he is in the you've heard this here first. The 1 percentile for height. 1, as in he is he's in the lowest 1% of height for a child
right.
at 6 months.
That cannot be. I guarantee that kid's 6 feet tall by the time it's all said.
He is on pace to be about 4'8" right now, the way he is going.
He's like 6 weeks old. Come the hell on.
6 months.
I know.
I'm watching the measurements every time he goes in for an appointment. He started out. It's funny because when he was born, the doctors said, "Boy, it was a good thing he was born 3 weeks early." Because he was huge for being 3 weeks early. Fast forward.
There has to be data to support my theory that this cannot be like just a certainty at this point.
I don't know, but I'm thinking he's just going to be a midget. You know?
I don't see it. I will make a long-term bet with you of $1,000 that by the time the boy's 18, he's going to be at least 6 feet tall.
I might have to. You know what? Next week we'll bring that one back up, and maybe I'll take that bet. $1,000 is a lot to think about for the moment. Now, are we talking inflation on that $1,000? What's that?
I have till he's 18 years old, so if he grows to 6 feet tall by the time he's 16, I mean, I won. But, I have till 18.
Give me a moment to think about that one. I'll see if I can wager my hard-earned money. Now is it $1,000 with inflation, or is it like $1,000 in 18 years going to be worth like $150?
Dude, either way, I feel like I'm taking a big risk here.
I got a feeling he's going to be under 6 feet. I just do. And Vince is going to be like 6'8", and
I'm your best friend. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving you some some relaxing peace of mind. You're like, hey, my kid might not be, tall enough to play basketball. Well, at least I'll get $1,000 out of the deal.
Okay, well, I'll give you that.
That's how I console you.
I'll give the $1,000 a chance. Prop bets.
I know you better than anyone.
I do love betting. By the way, did you lose a bunch of money on something? Didn't you say you lost money on something this week?
I don't know, probably.
Yeah, well, either way. It's that time. We hit like an hour, just like normal. Someday we'll get it down to 20 minutes. Who
The
knows?
devoted fans will stick with us.
Yeah, you, me, and Los, the three of us. We're the only
And
ones.
Crawl.
And Crawl. Okay, I'll give you that. Crawl's around too. Well, for Kyle and Robert, it's the end. This is the Gentleman Fantasy Podcast. Have a good week.
Peace.
Walking around